Well, hello, hello, hello. I'm Jane Hogan, the wellness engineer. Welcome to Wellness by Design today. I'm really excited about today because I'm doing a success story with a member of my wonderful fine group, Penney Simms. Welcome, Penny.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm just delighted because I met you in March and I have seen you blossom and grow so much. You're real inspiration to so many people in the group, and just watching how your life has changed has been amazing. So we're going to hear a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So Penny, who is Penny? Penny is mother of two wonderful children, soon to be a grandmother later on in 2023. And she's also married to the love of her life. And funny thing is that I taught back in my old career as an engineer when I was teaching engineering at a college. I actually taught Penny's husband, but I didn't meet Penny then. I only met Penny. I only met Penny when earlier this year I was doing a little presentation at a local store, the Healthy Vibe. I was doing a presentation on breath work, and Penny was there. And maybe we can hear from Penny how she found out about me. And that's when we connected. And I've been a big fan of hers ever since. So let's hear from Penny. How did you find out about me, Penny?
So I was having some health issues and I was kind of talking to a lot of people trying to get some answers. And I was actually a couple of years ago, all these product, um, what are they, like tiered systems? And so a few, I was always involved in those, like the weight loss ones and the energy ones and and so I was just about to sign up for one of those because I was so desperate. But a few years ago, I decided, no, I'm not doing that anymore. Like it's unsustainable, it's expensive. I never stick with it. So I was about to sign up for one of those because a friend had introduced me to something, and I was about to sign up. And my other friend, who was suffering with rheumatoid arthritis at the time and was looking for answers to her own health issues, said that her sister-in-law was part of this wonderful fine group by Jane Hogan. And so I spent that whole weekend just researching, who is Jane Hogan? What is the wellness engineer? What does she do? Found out that you were in Steadybrook, and that you were going to be at the health food store on that Wednesday night. And I thought, I am going to be there. I have to meet this woman. I feel like she has the answers. And one of the things that you said in one of the videos that I watched was, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And
Mm.
that's how I feel about you, Jane. That's
Aw.
exactly how I feel about you. I
Well,
was so ready and you were the teacher and you appeared.
yeah, yeah. Well, it is kind of amazing how that happens. And I think everyone can relate to that on whatever journey you're on and wherever you are. Like for me, the teachers appeared for me when I needed them. And you don't pick up on it until it's like your
Absolutely.
antenna is up, right, for certain things. So you were ready for it. So let's hear, Penny, how were you? What were your issues? What was going on with you before you joined Wonderful Fine?
Okay. So I've always been very whole health minded. I've been on a whole health, so body, mind, and spirit, for 25 years. And every year, I've seen growth. But what happened last fall, so fall of 2021, I started to experience chronic fatigue. And so, I'd go to work, I'd come home at lunchtime, I'd have a 40-minute nap. I'd set my alarm clock for 40 minutes so that I could sleep and go back. And then I'd come home, I'd eat supper, and I'd go to sleep. I'd fall asleep on the couch. And that's very uncharacteristic of me. I'm a very high energy, go, go, go. So it was really uncharacteristic. And so from fall right up until March, that was how my life was. And I felt like my life was deteriorating fast, and
Yeah.
there was no other signs or symptoms, just this chronic fatigue. And so I was thinking, maybe I'm in banking, that's my career. So I've often heard people say it's very stressful. I didn't feel like I was stressed, but I thought, well, maybe it's getting to me and I don't know that that's what it is. Or then my friend moved out of town, and her and I were very active. We did a lot of walking, a lot of snowshoeing, cross country skiing, biking. We were very active. She's kind of my my active friend.
Mhm.
And so she moved out of town. And so I wasn't as active as I was, especially in the winter, when you get the winter blues or whatever. So I thought, well, maybe I got the winter blues. Maybe I'm just getting depressed because, I don't have that active person in my life to the same degree. And, the snow and the weather and all that. So maybe I'm getting depressed. Anyway, nothing was adding up. But I was just chronically fatigued, and it didn't matter what I did. Like if I went for a walk, like one week I went for a walk every night, and it didn't help. Like I was still exhausted. And so I just felt like I was losing myself and losing my life. And then I met you and that night at the Healthy Vibe, and you were doing a presentation on pain and inflammation. And you, at the end of your little presentation, you had said, is there anybody that got any questions? And I'm like, I do. I don't have pain or inflammation, but I'm really tired and I need your help.
Yeah.
And so you came down and, we were chatting a bit about it. And you said, if I were to guess, I would say it has something to do with gluten. And if I were you, I would start there. And I thought, oh no, and I don't eat I didn't think I ate a lot of gluten. Like when I think about breads and pastas, I've always been conscious of weight. So I've always been very conscious of what breads and pastas and that kind of food can do. So I didn't feel like I ate a lot, but gluten is in a lot more than I realized. So that Sunday I had my last supper. I had a huge big plate or two of pasta, had my garlic bread, did the whole thing. And I said, you know what, Monday morning, I'm going to start this and see if it helps. And Monday I came home, I went to sleep at lunchtime. I went to sleep, had a nap after work, went to sleep at 9 o'clock. Tuesday, I came home and at lunchtime, and I said to my husband, I don't feel tired. And he's like, really? And I said, yeah, but I'm going to go have a nap just in case, because I don't want to fall asleep at my desk at 3 o'clock. So I went up and I did lie down, but I did not sleep. And that night I didn't have a nap. And Wednesday, when I came home lunchtime, I was dancing. Like I felt like, oh, I'm back. Penny is back.
Right.
In 3 days. It was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
It really is. Oh my gosh, Penny. I mean, I had a similar, it was about 5 days. I mean, with me, it wasn't energy, although I didn't have any energy. I was just in so much pain, but it was a really quick reaction. So, or not reaction, that sounds negative. It was a positive change, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it seems like that is a huge step. Like anyone who is used to eating a lot of bread, like products that contain wheat, it seems like that's a huge step. But what's beautiful about it is you know really quickly whether that is an issue for you, right? So you found out really quickly. I found out really quickly. I mean, we could do anything for a few days, right? We
Right.
really can do anything for a few days.
But
So,
I had digestive issues all of my entire life. It was a big joke when I would travel with friends, because I would get off the plane and I would be bloated and sick and, just and constipated. And, it
Mhm.
just became this big thing, like when you're traveling with Penny, right?
Yeah.
And I've had digestive issues my entire life, but had no idea, no
Right.
idea.
That must have been one of the things that you must have mentioned
I
to me
did.
that night, because I
Yes,
I
I did.
usually, don't start with saying cut out gluten because it can seem like a huge step, right? But anyone with digestive issues, I
Yeah, I
would
did.
say like that's kind of where to start. That, sugar, dairy, gluten are kind of the main ones, right? And a lot of times we're eating those together, bowl of sweet
Right.
cereal, right? You
Yeah.
know. For me, I did all three of them. For you, it was just gluten, and so you notice a difference right away. So the reason why, so the audience knows, the reason why we get such a quick change, especially if it's combined with digestive issues, is that the lining of our small intestine, which is where the damage occurs, because it's only one cell thick, those cells get turned over every 3 to 5 days. So in other words, you can be, it's kind of like, think about it like a dam. So the dam can get knocked down, have all these holes in it, but it gets built up every 3 days. But if you keep throwing, wrecking balls in there poking the holes, and it's never really going to get a chance to heal. But if you can give it a little break, stop the wrecking ball that's poking holes in the dam, and just let those build up, then you can see a difference right away, because our immune system is right on the other side of that. And the immune system, then when it gets triggered, can cause like all kinds of issues. Like for you, it was lack of energy. For me, it was an autoimmune condition. For other people, it could be skin issues, or it could be that their hair is falling out, or it could be headaches. It could be poor sleep. Like there's just so many things involved. And also combine it with the age, like as women, when we're aging and our hormones are all changing, there's a lot of different things going on there too. But many of my friends who are doctors who help women with hormone issues, at especially midlife type of issues, that's a common one that they will say is like, let's just stop the gluten, right? So
Even my skin, and it's funny that you mentioned my skin and my hair, because even my skin and my hair, like for years I had this dot, like I don't know what it was on my chin, and it's gone. Like it's completely gone, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how is that even possible?
it's
It's
amazing.
so interesting.
Yeah. So you joined Wonderful Find. So Wonderful Find is it's a program that I've got. It's sort of month by month. And Wonderful Find is a Newfoundland expression, which means the best version of fine. So it's what I wanted to call my program, even though a lot of times people go, what is that? So think of it as a pain-free living program, but it's not just about food. It's really body, mind, and spirit. So I combine, yes, I talk about, yeah, let's give this temple we're in the best shot at being healthy and to take, so it can take us through life, but it's also the mindset. And I combine like neurology and psychology and physics. All of these come together, along with I teach yoga and breath work. So it's kind of pulling it all together. And it's not about like muscling and white knuckling your way through this. I gotta give up gluten. I'm gonna do it. It's more like becoming a different version of yourself. And that
Absolutely.
version is the version that can heal. So that's kind of what I teach. It's about becoming a different person. And it's all tied in with personal development too, because it's
Absolutely.
not separate. Our health
Absolutely.
our health is not separate than our personality and who we are, right? So I tie all of it in together. So Penny, you joined Wonderful Find then, and let's talk about some of the other things that have happened to you since you joined the
Oh,
program.
Jane, there's so much. And I mentioned to you before we started recording about this next year. Like I am so in, because this whole journey with you and with the ladies of Wonderful Fine and being a part of that group has really been like peeling layers off an onion. Like, and then it's like there's this other layer that I didn't know was there, and then there's this other layer that I didn't know was there. So like the breath work, your breath work, what you've taught me about even how we breathe, it has transformed. It has transformed me physically. Like I feel like I'm so much calmer. As I said, I'm a very high energy type A personality. Go, 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 go. And I feel like I've taken this step back, and I am a different version of me. And I feel like I said, I've been at this for 20, 25 years. So every year I see growth. But since March, since I've joined Wonderful Find, since I've met you, I feel like my growth has been exponential.
Mm,
Like, and in every area, like, in my mindset, in how I think, in how I breathe, in my flexibility through your yoga. Like, I wasn't a yoga person. I'm very active. I'm a runner and all that, but when it comes to flexibility and stretching, and and then I did take some notes. Meditation, do you remember when I started meditation? I'm like, Jane, I can't stop my mind won't
yes.
stop.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
like
that.
almost self-hypnotize myself, like it's crazy, right?
Right.
um, so it's just been so many layers, and every area of my life has been affected. every area. I've seen growth in my relationships and even in how I view past relationships. You know, relationships where I haven't been perfect or relationships where the other person hasn't been perfect. And the guilt that I carried or the weight of it that I carried or, you know, or even in some cases, the grudge or, you know, that little bit of unforgiveness or that you're holding on to something. Like I've just let it all go. And I'm like, you know what? Grace for me and grace for them because
Yeah.
we're all human, right?
Hmm.
And it has totally changed my relationships and how I view my mistakes and other people's mistakes. My finances, I mean, it's crazy what's happened in that area. My overall health, my mental health, my calmness, and also my confidence, and my career path. Like even my career, you know, before, you know, 6 months ago, I would never have entertained a different career. And I just started, it's the same career, just a different role. And, you know, it's a big jump for me. And when you're comfortable, you sometimes want to stay comfortable.
Right.
Right. And so I really feel that this program and how I have been led the last 6 or 7 or 8 months since meeting you and being a part of this, I'm ready for more risk. I'm ready to take that leap and I'm ready to, you know, and the other big thing for me is being perfectionist and knowing that, you know what, there's really no failure.
Hmm.
There's really like failure is not real.
It's not.
It's not.
No, I mean, one of the big things that the pillars, I would say, of the program is kind of getting out of those old comfort routines. Well, the thing is, quantum physics, if we want to create a different version of ourselves, then we can't be doing the same thing that we were doing all the time. That doesn't mean everyone has to make a career change. It might just be a switch in your thinking. It might be a switch in your
Absolutely.
routines. Whatever it is, it's different for everyone. And I trust that you know what you need to do. But if we want to be that different version, that version that will heal, because we're new cells are turning over all the time, right? We've got this beautiful opportunity to always keep recreating ourselves. But we got to, if we want to recreate the version of ourselves that isn't in pain or that does have energy, that is, you know, more abundant in all areas of our life, then we need to be different, right? But our brain, so this is coming into the neuroscience part of it, our brain wants to keep us comfortable because its job is to predict the future. And so it can't predict when we start like going, you know, a little bit
Changing
different,
things
right?
up.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it gets a little uncomfortable, but that's where the growth happens, right?
Yeah.
That is where the growth happens. And so you've seen that, and I'm really, really thrilled about that.
And I didn't realize that I had the limiting beliefs that I had, like even about myself.
Mhm.
I did not realize that. And I've done a lot of work on myself, a lot.
Mhm.
And I, you know, some of the beliefs that have come out, some of the things that I've believed about myself that have come out in this last 6 or 7 months is like, wow, I had no idea that was there. And
Mhm.
it does, it limits you in your mind, it limits you in your body, it limits you in your spirit, right?
Yep.
It's
And
been so
relationships
interesting.
and
Relationships,
yep.
everything,
Yep.
finances, career, right? Marriage,
Yeah.
children.
So in the program, I have like a month, I have a pathway to follow, but I've also got monthly themes and a heart workbook, I call it, where there's, you know, reflections and things to think about. Like I said, it's not necessarily like white knuckling. It's like, let's think about things a little bit differently and maybe do some of these exercises to reflect on how I'm seeing things or doing things and how I could do it differently. So through that process, then you can kind of discover or begin to discover that version of yourself. So I really loved, I forget what month it was. Maybe it was August. We did abundance. And
July.
oh, it was July. Okay, thank you. Thank you. You
That was
remember because it was a very
transformational month for
abundant
me.
month for you, right?
Yes.
Let's hear a little bit about it.
Well, that was one of the things. I think that was the month that really was eye opening for me in what I believed, about a variety of things, and what I believed about relationships, what I believed about how people seen me, how people experience me, how I seen me. It was at the month that I realized my beliefs around money,
Mhm.
and how, I have limited myself so much all of these years, and have felt that, I could only go so far, right, in health and wealth and relationships, and I have been in fight or flight mode for most of my life in all of those areas. And
Mhm.
so when things get to a certain point, and it could go to the next level, is when I back off. I
Right.
will only allow myself to go to a certain level, right? And I will only put myself out there to a certain level. And I put myself out there a lot in a lot of different ways, but only to a certain level. And then I back off, right? And
Mhm.
so that was the month that I just let it go. I just let it go. And even physically, how I feel is just so, I feel so much lighter. I feel so free. I just feel so free.
Right. That's so beautiful. You mentioned fight or flight, and so most of us are going through that we're in that fight or flight state most of the time, which is never how our human physiology was supposed to be. And so in that state, that's where our digestion starts to not work very well. So that's, you if you were in totally relaxed all the time, maybe you could eat gluten, right? But if you're combine that with the fight or flight state, and digestion not working quite as well as it should, the immune system not working as well as it should, all of those things, like the endocrine system, all of them not working very well. Well, then we start to see, the physical side, which I always say is like the caboose on the train, right? It's so far down the line, when really what's driving it is, our thoughts and our feelings are driving the train, and down, way down the line, the caboose, the physical body reacts.
Right.
So a big part of what I teach is getting out of that fight or flight state, and really being aware of when you're in it, because when you get so used to it, you don't even know that you're in it. I was like that too. Like being a perfectionist, that will put you in a fight or flight state. And when you're constantly like that, you don't even know that physiology is happening. And then we get tight, right? So I call tight muscles and tight joints and all that. That is defense physiology. We're in defense physiology because we're in that fight or flight state. We might need to defend ourselves. So then we get tight. So that's why I love tying the yoga in. But I really like the yoga. It's not just about, okay, let's stretch here. To me, it really is the integration of mind, body, and spirit,
Absolutely.
tying it all together, and in the practice, like telling our brain to say it's okay, you don't need to hang on so tight to
Yes.
let go now.
Yeah.
And
And the thing is that when you've lived your entire life like that, like I've lived 43 and a half years like that, And so for the last 6 months, it's like, oh, this is what it feels like to be
yeah.
calm. And this is what it feels like to be free. Like I never ever knew how that felt.
So beautiful, Penny, because once you know what that feeling is like, so when you can take the time to get yourself into a state where you can feel that feeling, then you know when you're not in it, right?
Right.
It's so
Exactly.
clear because, okay, that's what that feels like. This is what that feels like. So we're teaching our body, what does it feel like? How do I feel in my body when I'm calm? How do I feel in my body when I feel abundant? How do I feel in my body when I feel love? So all of those things I'm trying to teach, because then the contrast is so clear.
It is so clear.
Right. And when you're in the other side on that contrast, then we know, okay, we're starting to build up defense physiology again. We're in that fight or flight. Things are not going to be working well. I got to get myself out of that. And, we're really taking responsibility for who we are and who we want to be. And that is a wonderful fine thing, right? When you
Right.
you can
And
do
that
that.
is the best version of you. And it is so true because, like now that I know what this is, I don't want to be anything else. And as soon as I go, and so that goes with food, like physically,
Yeah.
mentally, spiritually, like I know what it is now to feel like optimal. And so if I go a little bit this way, I'm like, no, 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 take me back,
Right. Yeah.
because I know how this feels. I know how good
Yeah.
this is.
Yeah. The awareness is huge, right?
And you're
That's
so much more sensitive,
yeah.
right? You're
Yeah, because
so
you're really now tuning in. Like I had no idea I was clenching my belly most of my life, right?
right.
Because I just wasn't aware. So the other great thing that happens is when you get out, when you're in fight or flight, your cognitive brain like literally shrinks, and the primitive brain, that because it's got to take over, because you might need to run, you might need to fight. We don't need to be taking time to let's make the best decision here. So that primitive brain, which is, I'm pointing to the back of my head because that's where it is, that takes over the cognitive part of our brain, right? That human part of our brain begins to shrink. And then when that happens, you aren't making as good decisions, right? So you're more likely to lash out at people, or more likely to be critical, or more likely to get drawn into gossip.
Well, that was one of the things that I wrote down in my notes, was that I'm much more responsive
Yeah,
and reflective. And
right.
again, I'm a very hyper, high energy type A personality. So I've always been somebody who, like, stuff comes out of my mouth or I'll react. Right. I'm very reactive. And I found the last 6 months I'm more responsive and reflective than I am reactive.
Ah, what a gift. What a beautiful gift you've
It's
given yourself.
so amazing.
Yeah. And then the other thing that happens is you're less likely to, I always say like eat, less likely to eat the whole like sleeve of Fig Newtons instead of just one, or whatever it
Right.
is for you, the bag of chips or
The bag
the
of
bottle of
chips.
wine, like whatever it is for each individual person, you're less likely to do that because your thinking brain is working better. So you're like, do I really want that? And then you can make choices. What's the best version of me I can be today? And is that best version of me going to decide to have that or not decide to have that? Um,
Exactly.
and this month, the
And
theme,
then when you
yeah,
do that, you the next day, whoa, right? Like before, I could eat a big bag of chips, I could eat the whole thing, and the next day I could still get up and function properly. But now I'm like, oh, that really does not feel very good today.
you're aware of it because, when
Yes,
we feed our body well, I mean, you think about it, every single cell in our body has got to be rebuilt, and the fuel to rebuild it is the food we eat. So if we're
right.
giving our body crappy food, and then the poor, the liver are having to deal with the toxins and things, of course we're going to get more tired, and we're not going to be building, like literally building, that best version of ourselves. So it just makes sense. And I was just going to mention that our theme this month is worthiness. And one of my things, so I've got this beautiful manifesto as part of Wonderful Fine, and one of the statements on that is eat food that's worthy of yourself. I don't know where I've got that now. Yeah, it's somewhere there. But anyway, eat food that's worthy of you. Sort of big letters there. Eat food that's worthy of you. But it's not just food. It's like do the things that are worthy of you.
Think the things that are worthy of you.
Oh, I
Speak the
love that,
things
Penny.
that are worthy of you. Right? Do the things that are worthy of you. Yes.
So now we're coming at our life from a whole different perspective. Now we're saying, what would that, I think of this a lot, that, as souls coming here, like we're a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in a human body. So we kind of won a lottery to get here and to have this human experience. So what's worthy of that? Like,
And you
we
know
are
what? That applies to relationships, even the people that you have in your life. Like for me,
exactly.
I was such a people pleaser that if you wanted to be my friend, you were going to be my best friend. It didn't matter who you were. Like I would just, come to me, come to Penny, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, I'm a bit more choosy. And that's not a negative thing,
No, no.
right? That's not a negative thing. That's because I'm worthy of a certain standard, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not just going to invite everything and everyone to be a part of that.
Right. Because you're on this growth journey. And so you want to have the things that support you in your life. I,
Absolutely.
I was so wanting to be accepted by everybody
Me
that
too.
I wouldn't say no to anything. Like,
Me
ask me
too.
to join this club, I'm in it. You ask me to join, I'm there. Invite me to a party, I'm there. I was just like, no, I got to be there. And now it's so different for me. I like, is that supportive? Like, is that helping me on well, for me now, I'm like, is that helping me on my mission? And if
Right.
it's not, it doesn't belong in my zone of influence here, right? So I'm a lot more
Absolutely.
choosy about the people, the things, and all of that. And that's what we all need to be. Choose the things that are worthy of you. So whether it's food, whether it's people, whether it's things you're giving your attention to, like even the news, like, are you worthy?
Absolutely.
Are you worthy of all that? But recently I was at a hotel and I was by myself, so I turned on the TV. Well, the news and the advertisements and everything was like boom, boom, boom. And I'm so not used to that now that it really stood out. And I was like, I don't
Turn
want
that off.
I don't
Yeah.
want this, right? So
No.
we just get a new level of awareness, which changes everything. So let's talk about, like, how do you feel physically now?
Oh, physically, I feel wonderful. One of the byproducts, and this was not at all a thought even in my mind, but one of the byproducts of this group was that I've lost about 15 pounds, which is quite noticeable because I was not overly, like, I wasn't big. I was 140 pounds, right?
Right.
But that, even that, in itself, like, I feel so light. I feel like this is the lightest I've ever felt in my life. And energy, I don't have naps anymore, which is great, and I'm back to go go go, to the point that I want to go 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 though.
Right.
And now physically I know how to rest, I know how to relax, I know how to say tonight's not a good night to come over, or I can't go there tonight because I need to wind down.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
big differences physically.
Right. And it's really beautiful in the group too, because we do these group coaching sessions twice a month, and not everyone can get to everyone. And even within I've got a private Facebook group for people to see the weekly wins, which people will post, not every single week, but we see the growth, and people are inspiring each other, and that's one reason why I wanted to talk to you today. I've done this with some of the other members over the last couple of years as well, and when people see what other people are doing, it gives them the belief that it can happen for them too.
Absolutely.
And so it's just inspiring others in the group, and it's really beautiful, like, for me to witness it. I mean, I knew it was possible, but well, that's part of the reason why I created the group. I just wanted to see more people have this beautiful growth and development, and know what's possible, know that it's possible to get out of pain, like if you're in chronic pain or lack of energy. Or I've had some people come as well that are, constantly anxious or not calm, just feeling unrested all the time. And so their lives are changing because of this. And the beautiful thing is the ripple effect out, right?
Absolutely.
So, how have you noticed other changes, like not just with you, but with people in your life that are affected by you?
Absolutely. And I don't know if it is so interesting. It's actually, so that piece of it is so interesting. And I don't know if I didn't notice it before or if it's a new thing. But I mean, even my husband, like, my husband called this morning, and we had friends here last night and we were contemplating New Year's. And this morning he went off to work. And this morning I was thinking, I don't know, I really feel like we should go see his mom. And he called and said, I feel like we should go see mom on New Year's. I don't think we should do this thing, right? And I'm like, so you just notice that you're in sync so much more with people. Like, I feel like, and I'll think about somebody and they'll call or text, or it is very interesting. Yes.
Mm.
And one of the things I've noticed as well is whatever the theme is for that month. Like, I went to meet with my new employer for the first time, and that month was was it that month or the month before? It was confidence. It was about confidence, right? And one of the things she said to me the first time meeting this lady, she said, Penny, I just love your confidence. So it's happened a lot, like, or like abundance month. People were saying like you appear so like there's something going on with you, like you got more abundance.
I love it.
It's just so funny and it's so exciting, right? When you get that feedback. And
Mm-hmm.
I found that part really, really interesting, like how people respond to you and how people see things in you, and they're not, sometimes they don't know exactly what it is, but it's really interesting.
Well, your energy changes. I mean, we are energetic beings, right?
Yeah.
We've got a physical body, but even that is energy that's just vibrating really, really slowly, so it appears to be physical. People pick up on that. Like
Yes.
I was reading something the other day about how language has only been around for a very short time, really, in terms of how long humans have been around. Long before that, they were still communicating without language, but we're picking up all the time on other people. You can feel when someone positive walks in the room compared to someone that's,
Absolutely.
down. So there's all kinds of ways that people pick up on that. I'm just wondering, just because I know for myself, my husband, his health changed when I was taking steps to change my health. Has your husband or your immediate family
Yes, definitely.
experienced
Like
any
we
changes?
seen friends of ours or acquaintances, I guess more so. And as soon as they seen us, they said, "Oh my gosh, the two of you guys look great. Like you look like you both have lost a lot of weight." Now, I don't think either one of us have, but when people see us, they're like, "Wow, you guys look great." And yes, Morgan is definitely reap the benefits of this, and he's the cook. He does most of the cooking in the house. So now that he's cooking for me, he's cooking the same thing for all of us, right?
Right.
So he's definitely, and he's got a lot more energy as well. So yes, absolutely.
I love it, Penny. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to air. Before the end of December. And I just want to put this little special out there, that I do have like a 2-for-1 special going on till the end of December for Wonderful Find. So basically, you sign up for 1 year, you can invite a friend for one whole year with you. So it's a really great opportunity. And this goes for even the current members if you're doing month by month. You sign up for a year, which gives you 2 free months anyway. But it's kind of like you can share it with a friend, and
Love
it's
it.
even better. And I just want other people to have this experience because I know it's possible to change your life. That you don't have to have low energy. You don't have to live with pain. You don't have to live with I should be doing something else, right? There's something I'm meant to be doing. I don't know what it is. Like all of that comes together in this program. Anyway, I always finish up, Penny, when I interview my guests for the podcast with, because this is all about intentional living. Wonderful Find is about intentional living. This podcast is about intentional living. So, but we need baby steps, right? We can't. It's difficult for people to take giant steps. So I love the baby steps. So I always ask, what's one action someone could take today to improve their health? What would you say, Penny? What would be your advice?
I would say keep an open mind. And the
Oh,
reason I would say that is because a lot of the concepts that are in this group, a lot of the things that we do, so I had what I would call a miraculous experience with God about 20 years ago, and it has transformed my life. And some of the, like, yoga was something that I was very resistant to because it's an Eastern, and I didn't want my faith and my experience with God to be affected in any negative way because it's been miraculous.
mhm.
So yoga and meditation and that kind of thing, the Eastern medicines or the Eastern culture kind of things. And so I was always very resistant. But with this group, I thought, you know what? This is a safe place. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do all that I can do, and it has transformed my life. right? It
Mm.
has catapulted me into a whole new level of health and wellness, body, mind, and spirit. And so I would encourage people to keep an open mind and just try it. It's not all things are not always as they seem or as we think they are.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
think
we've
that's the
got
best thing that you can do is just keep an open mind and try it. You have nothing to lose by trying
I love
anything.
that, Penny. And that's such a it's such a loving concept too, right? To have an open mind, whether you're talking about for yourself or even for other people. And
Yeah,
really at the root of all of this is love.
absolutely.
Self-love, love for other people, being in tune with love. So whether you call love God or Allah or the universe or your higher self, like whatever it is, that the essence of that is love. And really, even to heal, aligning yourself with that vibration of love is how we do it. So I mean, it sounds really like kind of super simple, but that's what it is. And so, Eastern philosophies, they're talking about it too, like, chi, prana, all that kind of stuff. But to me, it's all just a loving energy. And so that's what we're trying to tune into.
Right. And you said it sounds super simple. And I just want to say that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It is super simple.
Yeah, I know. We think it's got to be so complicated, and we got to go find the 10-step program, or spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on testing and supplements and blah blah blah. And really, you could, but like, why work on the caboose, right?
Right.
Why work on the
Exactly.
caboose? Work on the front end of it, and aligning yourself with positive, loving energy. That's really how we do it.
Yep.
And it is that simple.
And it works.
And it works. So Penny, thank you so much for being my guest on Wellness by Design today. It's been such a pleasure. It's been a pleasure watching your growth and development, and it's such a pleasure talking with you today. And I know you're going to be inspiring other people. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I don't know where I would be right now if it wasn't for the wellness engineer. I really don't. I can't
That's
imagine it
really,
would have been a full year. I just can't imagine. So thank
oh,
you.
well, that's sweet. But you know what? I'm just listening to what I need to do. And I'm just so grateful to you to give me the opportunity to, fulfill my passion. And also for the people that are watching or listening, this is for you. This really is for you. And so I hope that you feel that, because I'm sending out some loving vibes for you today. So
Me too.
thanks for being here, everyone. Take care.